Welcome to the Block PC. My name is Dallas. My wonderful co-host Robin. This week's episode is Understanding Yourself.
Understanding yourself.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this one because I feel like I was, where all my deepest thoughts come from. I was driving and I was upset while I was driving because people weren't driving.
You get upset
when they drive because they weren't driving to the standard I need them to. If we're in the left lane, why is there a gap between you and the car in front of you? And it was literally that. And I was like, why am I so angry about this, man? Because I know there are days when I'm like, oh, there's a gap. I'll get there when I get there. These people can wait behind me. And I was like, how many things do I get upset over that I also do? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know it was like such like a mundane and small thing to like think about. But I was like, if I can get this upset over driving and I do the same thing that I'm getting upset about these people for, like what else in my life am I getting irritated with, but like I also do that. Yeah. You know, so then I was like, now I got to take a step back. And
understand.
I was like, let me see what about myself, you know.
That's what's up.
And why I feel like these ways. So that's where the topic came from.
I like that.
So I guess just jump right into it. How do you feel like you cultivate self-awareness or self-reflection in your everyday life?
I always say 5 o'clock in the morning is the best time to wake up.
Wow.
So I feel like I do a really good job at that because it helps me stay in tune with where I am. Right. I say I do this because I am not one who likes to just rush into my day and just make sure without I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I don't like to just hop out the bed, go take a shower, and then just be on my way to work. Like I have to mentally check in with myself first. And the days that I don't do that, when I'm not waking up at 5 o'clock and I just jump out the bed, I feel completely terrible. And when I'm waking up at 5 a.m., that's me checking on how I feel. Is anything making me upset? Giving me time to spend time with the things that are making me upset so I don't have to take it into my day-to-day life. So I guess with that question, I'm trying to say I like to spend a lot of time with myself before I actually do activities or like, just go and be free.
Lots of mental check-ins.
Yeah, a lot of mental check-ins. What about you?
I feel like that kind of about sums it up. I think for me, it's when I am in those moments of like, why are you angry? Like it's stopping and being like, okay, you're upset. What is making you so upset right now in this moment? And like, if I push and I prod myself enough, I can usually be like, oh, it's because of this. It's because like I feel like I need to be in a rush to work. And now they're not letting me get to work as fast as I need to. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm already on time. Like, I got to take a second and realize like, okay, life is not going to end if someone's not driving as fast as I need them to. Or if, you know what I'm saying, someone's not doing something I want to. I feel like it was, whenever I get upset, I'm like, oh, this is way more to do with me than what this person's actions are actually, putting forward.
That's what's up. I think when I get upset, like, and have time to like actually reflect on why I was upset, I feel like it brings out a lot of good points, and then you kind of realize like, okay, I didn't need to be that upset or emotional over it. I'll give you an example right now. I was on the highway here the other day, and I'm sitting in traffic for 20 minutes max, and then I look on the other side of the highway going the opposite way, and this traffic is backed up for exits and exits and exits and exits, and I'm like, you're upset about this, like, I get it. No one likes to sit in traffic. No one likes to, do that. But then when you look at someone else's situation and how bad they may have it, why are you so upset? You know what I'm saying? Like I could have been on the other side and not got home till like 10, whatever time those people got home. But yeah, I feel like that was a big eye opener for me because I was just like, a lot of things, we work ourselves up to that, to that moment, to being so upset without realizing there's probably a bigger picture somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like if I had a personal story, I feel like I've always been like kind of goofy, we make jokes, we laugh all the time. So I feel like throughout my life, people have seen me as like the goofy person opposed to like a responsible or like, hardworking person. So I feel like for a long time, like I thought people would just assume I was going to do something wrong or like mess up. And so nowadays people would try and help me without me asking, and I would get really upset at that. Because I'm like, in my head, I was like, oh, well, you assume I was going to do it wrong. And it was like, come to find out, it was like, no, they just wanted to help you. Because we all deserve a little help. And so for me, it was realizing in myself, like, you're not mad that they're helping. You're mad because all this stuff that happened to you in the past, you're projecting that onto this situation here.
We can project a lot of feelings.
That's, you know what I'm saying? That's whenever people are having bad days, rough days, or treating you wrong, most of it is usually a projection. Yeah. you know? And so it was like understanding like, oh, I'm not upset that they're helping me. I'm upset because for so long I believed that people thought I was messing up.
Yeah.
And so I thought this was the same situation. And realizing like, no, you can take a step back. You can accept help too.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It just means your life got easier.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that was like something I had to learn that was hard. And it still is kind of hard for me too.
Are you saying like accepting help is okay?
Always.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. Because like most of the time I realize that people want to help you because they want to help you. They want to see you succeed. Like, honestly, if you don't want to help someone, you're not going to offer it.
Yeah.
You know? And so, and if you do offer help, you got to be ready for someone to say, yeah, I need help.
I like to offer help and not look for anything in return. I feel like if you're going to help someone, I feel like it should be out of the kindness of your heart. Like, I shouldn't be looking for anything back. I guess that's how I look at it. And it makes me feel good as a person, like just to help, just in general. So.
I agree. I feel like sometimes I want to help in like a selfish way. I'm like, you know what? I need some good karma. I want the universe to like help me out too. Yeah. So I think I'm going to help someone. And like, I used to feel bad because I'm like, oh, that's kind of selfish. Yeah. But it's like, we all deserve good things. Yeah. You know, and offering help is never a bad thing.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Let's go to the next question. That was good.
The wind, though. Yeah. She said a tornado flew around my room. Before you came, excuse the mess it made.
Getting a little concert. Wow. It's supposed to be a podcast.
Be a rapper.
Not a studio.
Was that you rapping?
No.
Frank Ocean?
That's Frank Ocean. That's Frank Ocean.
Okay, next question. So I guess, what are your favorite ways, or like how do you incorporate that self-reflection in every day into your life, besides like waking up and going
to the gym? I feel like I have to just touch back on like really just making sure I spend time with myself. We get so busy throughout the day to the point where you won't even think about yourself. You know what I mean? You won't even dare to take a second and just be like, how am I really feeling? And I feel like I really try to stay on top of that, because without those things, then I would just be an emotional wreck and be all over the place. So I feel like me actually finding, whether it's in my car, whether it's me, waking up in the morning, or whether it's me going to bed, like I really try to tap in and be like, well, how are you really feeling? Like, not just what you think you're feeling. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I asked someone the other day, I was like, do you cry? I cry in the shower, because that's when I really get to like let all my emotions out and not feel judged or whatever like that. So I feel like the days I feel like I need to cry, or the days I feel like I need to laugh, I'm making sure that I'm doing those things. That way I'm not holding anything in that could come off, to the world negatively. So what about you?
I think for me, it's, like I said, taking time. Like, I kind of like that idea with yourself. But also, I think putting it on paper is always good. Putting it in your notes, like just expressing your feelings out in the open, so you can kind of see it somewhere. I think that's something that I like to do.
Not just up here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because your mind, like once you start putting things on paper in front of you, you're like, oh, wow, even as I type this, like it seems different than how I'm thinking it through in my head or something like that. So I think for me, that's the easiest way for me to gauge where my head is at versus what's actually happening in the moment.
And then you could go back on those words too, and you could be like, man, I was feeling, a week ago, I was feeling like this. Now this week, I'm feeling amazing.
Like,
I've
know
done
what
that.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you can just see how, God is working in your life and just changing things around and making things really grow, and, helping you develop through those tough times, those dark times, those rough times. So
I think something that is hard about self-reflection is, for me, it was like, oh, you have to admit a lot more than you want to that you were wrong in a lot more situations than you thought you were. You know what I'm saying? You got to be willing to be like, dang, I was wrong about that. Or I handled that situation wrong. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And take that as the next stepping stone to, okay, well, how do I be better for the next situation? Yeah. Because like when I was, studying and all this stuff, it was talking about like how your values and beliefs, and your actions, how you were raised, like your day-to-day life, all come into like who you become as a person. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, even if, a lot of people have interesting relationships with their parents, right? But not many people want to admit that like we give off the same kind of actions that our parents do sometimes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We act like our parents sometimes. And it's like, for me at least, I was like, oof. That kind of, I didn't want to hear
Why you
that.
acting like that?
Okay, but now that I know, I got to do something better about it. If you
Yeah.
know that was such a problem. So I think it's important to understand that, like, you will be wrong.
Yeah, I feel like taking time to really see, like, okay, where this behavior may come from, or why do I act like this, is something that's very important, and it'll help you get through a lot of stuff. I guess, well, I can't say it'll help you get through a lot of stuff, but at least to know, like, where certain things are coming from. Like you said, you mentioned your parents and stuff like that. A lot of things we learn from our parents, and we don't know how to change them, or, like, you know, go about them moving forward, or we learn things that we don't feel like we can unlearn.
Right.
But I feel like taking time and sitting with yourself, and, like you said, writing things down, making goals, making things a habit, so that you know what you're trying to achieve in life.
Yeah. I also think it's important to, because, like, I was, again, with, like, all this stuff, I was looking for this.
Yeah.
It said emotional intelligence is very important. And part of that, there's a few things, but one of them was social skills. And that just made me think, like, to understand who you are as a person, you got to do things. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You got to, and my first thought was, like, when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, and I remember some of my friends were doing that.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, like, the police arrested somebody next to us, and I freaked out. I was ready to run and jump around. And I went home, and I still think about it to this day. I'm like, dang, I did not like how I reacted to that situation. Like, if I'm supposed to be doing this or doing whatever and standing on business, like, I was so spooked. And I was like, okay, now that you know that that is something you don't like about yourself, what are you going to do to change it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to be out there, I realize now that, like, I got to stand on 10. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm going to start a new job, like, I got to be on 10.
Knowing who you are. Yeah. Like, knowing who you are. I always say, like, this, not letting anybody play with you. You know, that's the slang way of it. Like, don't let anybody just think that they could just, like, one up you or, like, get over on you. Like, know who you are and stay true to that. Like, people will try to, like, to be honest, judge my character all the time. Like, oh, she's like this or like this. Or she always seems, you know, such and such. But I feel like because I'm working on knowing who I am, I kind of let that stuff, like, whatever, you know, like, I'm gonna let that roll off, because, you know, I know who I am, you know, and I know who I'm trying to be, and I know who I'm destined to be. So I kind of just like to move that way, like, not letting people tell me, like, who I am, because you're the only person who knows who you really are.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Letting other people's opinions and stuff like that dictate where you are, and, you know, how you step up for yourself, how you show up for yourself. I feel like it can be something that's hard to navigate through, but I feel like once you learn it, you're a boss. You're a badass. You're that girl.
One thing too that I feel like I'm looking here too is, it says seeking feedback and support. So it's like the importance of seeking feedback from trusted sources and surrounding oneself with supportive individuals who can offer insights and perspective on one's strengths, blind spots, and areas of growth. So I think it's important to note that, like, you are also who you surround yourself with. Like, I really do believe that. Yeah. Statement. You know what I'm saying? If you got people who are letting you be some type of way, like, come on now. I want friends who are going to challenge me to be better. They're going to sit there and be like, that was kind of messed up, bro. Like, let's touch
my heart with that one.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always believe that, like, oh, whatever. Like, if you're the smartest one in your friend group, you need a new friend group. You know what I'm saying? You want people who are constantly pushing you.
I love that.
And I'm not saying, like, you got to look at your friends and be like, you suck.
You don't need to be here.
But, like, you know,
we're
going to
move some furniture around.
When you realize you all just been stagnant, it's like, oh, man, like, think about what we could be doing. And you get a friend who is doing a lot, and you're like, dang, I kind of want to do that, right?
You see what I'm saying?
Our videographer and editor is always doing something.
You know what I'm saying? I want to be. I want to be she. Like
you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, dang, I gotta go harder.
Keep moving. I want to be around people who are constantly moving. And you know what I'm saying? Life could get really scary. You know, you could get distracted, or things might not work out the way you want them to, but we're not gonna stop moving, because it's who we are.
And I want friends who are gonna be like, hey man, like, we moving, like, come on, let's go.
I don't want friends that want to stay stagnant. And if it, like, it's okay to sit down for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying don't just keep moving, just keep going, because life is hard. But at the same time, like, I want to stay busy. I want to live this life knowing that I've done a lot of stuff and not just took a backseat on a lot of things that I could be involved in, you know?
Yeah. I think self-discovery is, like, an amazing thing that we have the ability to do constantly. It's just whether or not you're willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because doing nothing is easy. Yeah. And a lot of people want to choose it. And I understand there's a lot of stressors every day where you just want to, like, I just want to sit home and rest.
Yeah. We could have rested today.
You know what I'm saying? But think about how much is out there. We've been having to blast recording, and, like, you could go on and on and on about, you know, the positives of getting up. but like the hardest part is getting up.
I'm gonna share a story right now in regards to like getting up. Like I was really, I don't want to say depressed, but I was, we all go through depression and stuff like that. And I had a time in my life before I moved here where I was really depressed. Like I was down in the trenches. I didn't know how I was going to get out of a situation or navigate through it. But I just kept telling myself internally, like, you got to get up. Like the only one that can move for you is you. Like, and that's a tough space to be in because no one can tell you what to do when you're in your 20s necessarily. You got to navigate through everything on your own. Yeah. Like, and you might get advice. You might hear this person tell you this, like, oh, you should do this, but you really have to move for you. And so when I'm speaking about this story, I'm speaking about me moving from San Antonio to Colorado. No one told me I had to. No one was pushing my hand. No one was like, hey, but if I wanted better for myself, which I did. And I was like, this, my surroundings, they, they are what they are. I don't feel like I'm improving. I don't feel like I'm evolving. God, I got to go. And the time is now. And look at all that has come from, just me like being like putting my foot on the gas. And now it's time to go. And now you guys are doing big things.
I just feel like not many bad things come from getting up and trying to succeed. And like at bare minimum, you're farther than where you started.
I'm gonna try. I ain't roller skating though.
No more roller skating.
I'm gonna try, but I won't.
Your ankles have had enough of that.
So yeah, that was a cool experience because God has definitely shown me like how your life could just do a full 360 as long as you keep the faith and you keep trying. Like don't just stop trying because things don't.
Yeah.
Pan out for you.
I feel like it's just like working out. Like if you work out for a week, you're probably not going to see much difference when you work out. And it's like, well, I didn't see much difference. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? But someone who goes to the gym 5 days, 6 days out of the week, 7 days out of the week, all of a sudden 2 months later, you're like, no, I'm slimming down. And I was like, no, I got to go even harder. Let's see.
I'm the hawk. I'm the hawk.
So it's a constant battle. Like it's a constant, and sometimes it's not always a battle. Sometimes it's a really good thing. Sometimes you discover. I feel like self-discovery is also like a really nice thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where you can find cool things that you love, passions and stuff like that. But you gotta be willing to put in the work.
Gotta be willing to put in the work, and putting in the work may not always be easy. I feel like it has its ups and downs where you feel like you're not doing enough, or you feel like maybe you're doing too much. But I feel like biggest part of that is just sticking to it and doing the work and understanding you.
And that's the point. That's when you're sitting there and you can be like, hey, is this too much for me right now?
It's too less.
And that's perfectly okay if you can come to that understanding. Or it's like, you know what? I think I could go even harder. Yeah. And trying that. But it all just comes down to like you taking a beat with yourself and being like, okay, where am I at right now? How am I feeling? What's the forward one? Where's my mental at? Yeah. And it takes a lot of emotional intelligence too, which I think sometimes isn't always there. Yeah. When you need it to be, I guess.
That's what you got your friends for, though. Your friends should uplift you. Your friends should be on your side. Your friends should never make you feel like, if you are making a wrong decision, tell that friend you're making a wrong decision.
You should be able to tell your friend that. Yeah. If you can't, then but
your friends should be there to like, guide you too along the way, like, and help you understand, navigate through situations. So, yeah, that's what's up.
That's really all I had. You got any questions over there?
I did.
You know she do.
Woohoo! You answered one of them, so that was good.
Boom.
Okay. Can you be too self-aware? Much like working out, you need like your break days. So you don't want to be too in your head, I imagine.
I agree with that. Like being too self-aware, I think doesn't allow you, I guess, space to grow. Like when you're constantly like, oh, I'm doing wrong. Like, okay, well, you're kind of breaking yourself down all the time without any room to like grow stronger, you know? So it does take a second to just like let some situations pass. Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's okay to sit in emotions, I feel like. If like, I know I'm like, if I'm angry, I got to figure out what's wrong like that. Yeah. But that can come later. I can just be angry for a day.
It's okay to be angry.
Right. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. I think it's situational. I think it depends.
I think you need rest days. I think you should not just stay in the you, because there's also so many other things going on around us. Like, don't just make it all about you. I feel like you should definitely spend time with yourself. You should definitely like not forget about that part, but don't forget like all the other major things that are going on around us too.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say about that. Take a break when it's needed. Don't overly do it.
Yeah. I think too much of a good thing is a bad thing a lot of the times. And it's like, I think when you're too self-aware, you start to put yourself in a mindset of you're always wrong or you're always needing to change something.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. You might be upset at something, but you might be very justified in being upset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always like, well, what did I do wrong to make myself so upset? No, that person was stupid. Yeah. They did something. They cut you off in traffic. They almost crashed your cars. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to think too hard about that. Yeah. That makes me angry. That's like a natural emotion. So I think it's understanding when to be like, oh, this doesn't actually involve me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or someone comes in, they're really rude to you and you might be angry or, you know, standoffish back. Like, that's okay. You know, that's a natural reaction.
You gotta really sit with you. And I feel like that's a very important stage in your life, to understand who you are, to know who you are. Like, so many people rush that process, but I feel like it's a good process to be in and understand what you like, what you don't like, how you're going to navigate through things. How do you navigate through things, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's important.
Wow.
All right, guys, that is it for us. I am Robin. This is my wonderful co-host, Dallas. Always want to give a special shout out to our videographer, editor, producer, Libby behind the cameras. We love her so much. Make some noise. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, I forgot. Like, comment, subscribe.
All that stuff.
All that good stuff. Bye-bye.